Welcome guys. So if you haven't seen last week's video on technical chart analysis, I highly recommend you watch that first before you watch this video. And I'll put the link on the description down below. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about the fundamental items I look for in a company before I trade that stock. Now, I know a lot of traders either do technical analysis or fundamentals, but I like to do both. I'd rather be safe than sorry, and it just fits my style. I don't do day trade and I don't do long-term investing. I kind of like to do something in the middle. I tend to call it weak investing, so it just fits right with me. So let's get started on the items I look for in a company. The first place I go to when reviewing a company's fundamentals is one of these websites, either Google Finance, Yahoo Finance, or the SEC website. Now, I like to use Google Finance because I find it very easy to use, but lately they changed the website on me and it's been driving me crazy, so I've just been going to Yahoo Finance. And once in a while, I'll go into the SEC website if I need to find out a specific detail about a company. I'll take a look at their quarterly or annual reports. And the second thing I do is I review the basics. So starting off with the description. What type of company is it? Do they sell donuts? Do they sell clothes? Are they building houses? What type of company is it? The next thing I look at is the average volume. Now, if the volume for me, if it's less than 1 million, then I'm probably not gonna look at it. If it's less than 500,000, then I'm definitely not gonna look at it. Next up is the 52-week low and high. So I'll get the current trading price of the company, and I'll compare it to this. So is it close to the low? Is it close to the high? What happened with that company if it's close to the low? Is it gonna keep going down? What happened with that company if it's close to the high? Is it something temporary and probably gonna go back down? So that's very important. The next thing I look at is there any events or earnings coming up? If earnings are coming up, then I won't touch that company. I'll wait until earnings pass to see how that company is doing, because earnings are a tricky thing. It can, I've seen companies with good earnings go up, and I've seen a company with good earnings go down. So it can be very tricky. So I'll just pass on that. And overall, guys, this is just a filter for the fundamentals. So first I'll do my technical chart analysis. If I like the company, then I go on to the fundamentals, and it's just filtering out. So if I don't like that the average volume is less than 1 million, then I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna go on to the next company. So all of these items are just filters that I use for every single company I invest in. And number 3 is I compare companies. So I'll compare the PE ratio, market cap, current ratio, and the margins. I try to see if there's a huge difference. I try to see if there's a potential growth compared to other companies, or is this company so big that their competitors are gonna start taking over. So all it says in this section is, does the company have potential growth? That's mainly the main thing I'm looking at with these items right here. These next few sections are probably the most complicated and confusing. At least it was for me when I first started trading. So what I've done is taking out the key factors that I think give the overall picture of the company. It just makes it plain and simple. So let's take a look at number 4, which is the income statement, and I look at that on a quarterly basis. I don't do the yearly one because I think that's more for long-term investing. And for my type of trading, it's more of a short-term, so I look at the quarterly. It makes more sense for me. And the first thing I look at is the gross profit. I make sure that's been increasing or at least leveled off for the past 5 quarters. Same goes with the net income. I make sure that's been increasing for the past 5 quarters. Now, if I see any of those two declining or going down, then I'm done with that company and I'm moving on to the next one. It's that simple. Number 5, I look at the balance sheet, and I look at that on a quarterly basis as well. So I look at the total current assets, make sure that's been increasing or at least leveled off for the past 5 quarters. And the next item is the total current liabilities, what they owe. Now I want this to be declining, so I make sure that it's been declining for the past 5 quarters or at least leveled off. And the last item I check for is the current ratio, and all that is the assets, the current assets divided by the current liabilities. So that will give me a ratio, and I'm usually looking for a ratio of 2 or higher. I might even go into the ones, but anything below 1, I'm really not looking at. So bottom line, what that is if they were to, if they had to pay off their liabilities right now, would they be able to with their current assets? That's all it is. We go on to number 6, and I don't put that much emphasis on this one, but I do look at the cash flow on a yearly basis. I just want to get the overall picture of the company. For me, it's just a quick snapshot, and I just make sure that the net change in cash is increasing. But I don't put a lot of focus on this, but I do, just take a quick glance at it. As you guys can see, it's not that hard looking at a company's fundamentals. You just need to focus on a few key factors, remove all that extra noise, focus on those factors, and it should give you the overall picture of the company. And that's all you're really looking for, the overall picture and direction of that company. I think with too much information, it drowns out what's actually happening with that company, and you can get lost in translation. It's worked for me, and I hope it works for you if you decide to use it. But make sure you check out the technical chart analysis video I posted last week. I'll put that on the description down below. And while you're down there, make sure you leave a comment, click like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments. Ciao.